Jay Bilas, ESPN college basketball analyst. All of a sudden, I'm watching the Spurs game. There's Jay, and he is raving about Victor Wembanyama. When's the last time you raved about somebody like you did Victor Wembanyama?
Wow. Probably Zion Williamson in college, something like that, or LeBron, Kevin Durant, when they were in college and coming into the draft. It's rare that you have a guy that you're looking at him going, I've never seen this before. And, you're old enough. I'm not sure how much your audience is, but the only guy I could kind of compare Wembanyama to was Ralph Sampson. Like I really believe this, if Ralph Sampson were born 21 years ago, he'd probably be in the Wembanyama atmosphere because he was Sampson graduated college in '83 and he was MVP of the All-Star game in '85 and averaged over 20 and 10 with the Rockets before he got injured. And at 7'4", really graceful, athletic, very, very skilled, but he was put down the post. If he were allowed to play today's game, I think he could be in that atmosphere. But there's never been anything like Wembanyama at 7'6" or whatever he is now. He was standing next to Derek Lively II, who's 7'1", and he made it look like Derek Lively was standing next to you.
How would you describe his game?
He is he's like a 7'6" praying mantis that has the skills of a 6'1" guard. And he's become more physical to the point where last year I think he was shooting about 8, almost 9 threes per game and half the amount of free throws. And this year he's not taking near as many threes. I mean, he might be taking 2 a game, and he's shooting a ton of free throws. I mean, he's playing his game more in the paint and making his presence known from 15 feet and in rather than outside of that area. And his effectiveness has gone way up. I just think he's learning how to be more dominant in every aspect of the game. And he's only going to get better as long as he stays healthy. I mean, he's 21 years old,
yeah,
and he's only going to get better. It's crazy.
But how much of his development do you lean on where he played, that he didn't go to college, but growing up, in academies, the pro development and the all-around development that you find in Europe that you don't necessarily find here in the United States?
I don't know that that's necessarily that big of a deal. Look, I think we have in the United States, we've got a skill development culture of late and more of an AAU culture. So look, we're going to find something to complain about. I mean, when we were in college, the coaches complained that we played too much pickup ball and we didn't do enough skill work. And now they're complaining that they do too much skill work. They don't play enough pickup. Nobody plays pickup anymore, and they don't know how to play 5-on-5. We're always going to complain about something. But I think what we wind up missing in this, Dan, and I'm not saying you, but we tend to still have this narrative that foreign players are doing things substantially different than we are. Instead of looking at it like since the '92 Olympics and the Dream Team, basketball's exploded worldwide. We still have most of the best players in the world, but we're not going to have them all anymore. And the idea, like right now, the top 5 candidates for MVP are all foreign-born players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won it last year. He's Canadian. We're not going to have all the best players anymore. That's just not going to happen. The world's too big, and basketball is the second most popular sport in the world behind soccer.
But if I put a non-U.S. 5 against a U.S. 5, who would you take?
A non-U.S. 5 against a U.S. 5?
Yeah.
So you're asking me the international team. I mean, I would take Jokic, Wembanyama, Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that crew, and they'd be really hard to beat. But we'd be competitive. It's not like we wouldn't win. Like, we're still winning gold medals now. But the problem is it's kind of like the Ryder Cup. You can't have just one country against the United States. We're still going to win that. But if you take the rest of the world combined, of course, of course, that's going to be a problem. But like if we were just playing, if the U.S. Ryder Cup team was just playing Great Britain and Ireland, now we dominate. That's why they went to Europe. But that's why I say we still have most of the best players in the world, the overwhelming majority. We still have, but we don't have them all.
I get also Giannis on that non-U.S.
Giannis,
team too.
yeah, Giannis. That's the top. Thank you. That's the top five I was talking about for MVP. And the first American you're going to mention, American-born player, is probably going to be Anthony Edwards of Minnesota, and he's further down the list for MVP right now.
Talking to Jay Bilas, he's got Duke and Texas on November 4th, and Kansas, North Carolina, November 7th. What did you make of Cooper Flagg and his performance against the Spurs?
Good, not great. But I think you kind of expect that a little bit. Like he had a couple of things, if you want to say, working against him. He was at 18 asked to play the point guard position in his first NBA game, which certainly isn't an easy transition to make. He didn't play point at Duke. He's got point guard skills, obviously. And he was being guarded by Stephon Castle, who's one of the handful of the best defenders in the league, in my view. And that's a little bit of a challenge for a player. And then if you do get by your initial defender, you're running into Wembanyama. So that's a challenge. He's had some really good games and really good moments. And like most rookies, I think he's going to have his ups and downs throughout the year, but he's the real deal. And what is he averaging? 13 points, 7 rebounds, whatever. And he's made some great plays, and he's made some that haven't been as great. But I think as he gets adjusted, and that won't take too long to happen, he's going to establish himself as one of the best players in the league.
Anything stand out from Austin Reaves when you saw him in college?
Yeah, so Austin Reaves started his career at Wichita State. And the first time I really saw him play, I saw him before that, but when I really saw him play was in Maui when he was with Wichita, and he had a shoulder injury and played through it. And my thought was, man, this guy can really shoot it, and he's tough. But did I think, okay, he's going to be a great NBA player? At that time, no. And then when he transferred to Oklahoma, you're going, man, this guy can really play. But still, you weren't thinking, like, I wasn't like banging my fist on the table when he didn't get drafted, going, what are these guys doing? This is idiotic. How can you not draft this guy? That's happening more and more now, where players tend to blossom a little bit later, and you see more undrafted players having success in the NBA because it's not all about being a superstar. You got the superstars that are in a small category in the lottery, and then I think I heard one of my colleagues last night. I think it was last night. Talking about, how did these guys go undrafted? How did Nikola Jokic go in the second round? Well, I don't remember any of those guys saying, why wasn't it happening at the time? Scouting's not easy, and you're gonna miss. Like all 30 teams missed on Jokic in the first round. So it's not like somebody's got a magic formula of spotting this stuff in advance. You do the best you can. But Austin Reaves he's a stud. He's a tough guy.
Who's the player that you thought he was going to be great and didn't turn out to be?
Thought was going to be great. God, there have been a whole bunch of them. I don't have one off the top of my head, Dan, that I was like, oh my God, I thought this guy was going to be unbelievable. I mean, there've been a bunch that, we scratched our heads the year Anthony Bennett from UNLV was taken number 1 by Cleveland. Like, I didn't see that coming. But I also didn't see him being out of the mix as quickly as he was. I didn't see the Markelle Fultz thing coming. Like, who could have imagined that he'd have sort of issues that weren't related to his talent that would be so debilitating for him? But there have been a lot of guys that we've like the players are so young when you're evaluating them. It's hard not to over-project them at times because you've seen other similar players, similar comps that did extraordinarily well, and you go, man, he fits the suit of this guy. So that happens too, and that's why I think the longer I've done this, the more I've come to realize for myself that like we're kind of guessing here. You do the best you can. But you don't know. You believe. Like, I believe this. Like when LeBron came out, I felt like I knew. Like I've gone more to I really believe this.
Who's the best player in college basketball this year?
The best play. Well, we've got an unbelievable group of freshmen that are going to dominate the top of the draft. So BYU's got AJ Devanza, and Duke's got Cameron Boozer. Kansas has Darren Peterson. So all these guys are going to compete for the number one pick. If I had one player I could have for a team, I would want Braden Smith of Purdue, the point guard. He's the best point guard in the country, and I don't think it's close. And while a lot of people around the college space are wringing their hands and predicting doomsday about, there are no rules and it's the wild, wild west and all that stuff, which it's not. Purdue is keeping their players, and they're not getting McDonald's All-Americans every year, and they're winning at a really high level. So the idea you can't do it in this transactional world, I love that word transactional. Can't have relationship anymore. It's all transactional, as if a scholarship wasn't a transaction. Those were transactions. But you can do it and quote unquote do it the right way, like Matt Painter does. You don't have to sell out and all that stuff. It's possible.
Good to talk to you.
Always good to talk to you. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, buddy. That's Jay Bilas. Jay will be on the call. Duke and Texas on November 4th. Kansas, North Carolina, November 7th. Yeah, you called the Victor Wembanyama Spurs game against the Mavs in Cooper Flagg. Anthony Davis is injured again. Now, that's a guy going to be a Hall of Famer, but I don't know if I want him on my team. Just because he shows you the glimpses and you go, oh, my God. And then he doesn't play. When Barkley gives you the nickname Street Clothes, that's not a good nickname. Yes, Marv.
Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between Anthony Davis and Rudy Gobert. Anthony Davis can play and be a big part of a winning team. Rudy Gobert is just tall.
Well, he's Defensive Player of the Year, 4 times?
But who's playing defense?
Well, you need to have that rim protector, Marvin.
They love that at the draft.
He's a rim protector.